What's up guys, Nico here, and today I wanted to talk about Dragonsword Awakening. The game was originally meant to be a gacha game, and the developers decided to go ahead and eliminate that completely. I spent a few hours in the game, and all the characters are obtainable through in-game means, whether it be through story or an in-game shop with a currency that you get by playing the game. There are no microtransactions, there's no in-game shop for transactions or any type of real money transactions. There is some DLC available for the game, a couple costumes, some mounts, but that's all outside the game, nothing done in the game. And there's no gacha, whether it be for cosmetics, characters, weapons, nothing. Which is great. The game does come with a $30 price tag, so you pay up front, but there's nothing else. One caveat with the game is that it does only have Korean voiceover, so you either have Korean voices or you can turn the voices off completely. I chose to play it with the Korean voices on because I like still being able to hear the characters talk, but it is rather unfortunate. I wish that in today's age, 2026, they could have gotten some English voice acting. Not that reading subtitles is any kind of negative, really. I mean, watch anime and everything with subtitles, and it's great. The only issue I have is just a tiny thing, is when you're playing the game, the characters, speak when they attack, they make comments out in the world, things like that, and I like being able to understand what they're saying. You don't get subtitles for things like that, and that's a bit of a bummer. Aside from that, let's just dive into some other similarities it has with gacha games. Since it was originally going to be a gacha, a lot of those gacha systems are kind of still in the game. The way you level up characters, weapons, gear, characters still require experience books, weapons still require experience items, just like in games like Genshin, Wuthering Waves. That's all still in there. So it still feels a lot like you're playing a gacha game with those systems. Thankfully, again, there's no way to buy any of that stuff. It's all just in the game, which is good. But those remnants of gacha are still in there. If you don't like that about gacha games, that type of leveling, the type of gearing system, then you're probably not going to enjoy this either. But for me, again, the character design, what little bit I was able to interact with the story, the world design, that was enough to make up for it. As well as those systems being very similar, there's also like a world rank system. In this game, it's like a mercenary rank. You gain experience for that by doing quests and such, just like the world ranks in other gacha games. It'll level up. The leveling up of this world rank is tied to, character progression. Again, like other gacha games, you can level your character to level 20, and then it requires what's called a breakthrough. And you see the same system in games like Genshin, Wuthering Waves. Requires items from the world. Once your adventuring rank, world rank, mercenary rank, in this case, is high enough, you're able to break through, and now you can level your character from 20 to 30, from 30 to 40, 40 to 50. So that type of ranking system is also still present. Along those same lines, the world itself will feel similar to a game like Genshin. It is open world, you can freely explore. You'll see the similarities to Genshin: monster camps, chests, puzzles, little cooking stations out at the monster camps that you cook meals with materials found in the open world like Genshin. That's all there. There's also dungeons out in the world. I did do a couple of the dungeons. They're small, pretty contained, just like with those other gachas. In this case, there was a bunch of minions, and after you killed so many of them, the boss came out. You killed the boss, and then you were able to loot, get the reward, in this case, armor. But on that note, there wasn't any type of energy system or anything to limit the amount of time you could do this dungeon. So you could just keep doing it over and over, farming more and more armor, which is great. There doesn't appear to be any type of energy system in the game, so that's something that's completely eliminated, and is good, I think, very good. So moving on from that, we get to combat. It's action combat. It focuses on 3 character teams. Characters apply statuses. When you get a status effect, it can upgrade your combo to give you additional combo steps. And it also highly emphasizes character swapping in and out of characters constantly in order to do more damage and keep the combos going. However, a little different than the other gachas we know, rather than a skill and an ultimate, like so many of those other ones, the characters just have 2 main skills. You do those skills that applies their statuses, and that can either extend the combo a little bit with like a kind of special move, or it will initiate a character swap and you can swap out a character and then continue on from there. For example, the character I chose to unlock in the game, because just doing the first little story quest, it gives you a voucher to unlock a character in the in-game. It's called the Exchange. It's an in-game shop, but there's no money or anything. It's all stuff you earn through the game. I unlocked a character called Reyna. She looked like a Valkyrie, a knight or a Valkyrie, and I was like, yep, we're gonna get her. And through her combo and attack, she applies like aerial, knocks characters up, and doing so unlocks an additional attack, for example, that actually grapples the enemy, and she holds on and pounds them and stabs them and does more damage. I wouldn't say the combat is as engaging as a game like Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves seems to kind of have the top tier action combat, in my opinion. The combat is, however, still very enjoyable, more akin to, I would say, like NTE, Neverness to Everness, kind of on par with that. It doesn't have like a counter system or a parry that I've been able to tell so far, at least with the character I've used. But it was enjoyable. It's more focused on you need the dodge and then get back in there and do your combos. I would say that the character designs themselves were also pretty good. The character I ended up choosing from the store, Reyna, like I said, she looked like a Valkyrie. I really enjoyed that. The facial expressions for the characters were pretty good. Castella, the elf that you meet right at the beginning, part of this mercenary group, her expressions were great. I think a lot of the eyes for the characters are also very expressive, look very good. Especially the guild master who hands out the quests, her eyes looked really great. I like the expression in her eyes, and I thought they did a good job with that. So characters overall, I think, have a decent design. I don't think they're as... what's the correct word here? Extravagant's not the right word, but is over-designed as, like, say, Wuthering Waves or Genshin, but they work, and they fit the aesthetic of the world pretty well. The world design itself as well is also pretty gorgeous. The graphics look great for the environments, the ocean, the trees, the building designs. When you first go to the royal capital and it's giving you an aerial view of the city, and it feels like a lived-in city. Now, as for the story itself, again, this is just meant to be like a first impressions. I only spent a few hours in the game, and I started the story, got distracted by the open world a little bit, then continued. You play as Lute. He's a boy who is traveling to the royal capital to wait for his grandfather. On his way to the capital, there's a typhoon, he gets shipwrecked, you wake up on the coast, and you end up running into this little mercenary group led by Johnny. And the first member we meet, along with Johnny, is Castella, the elf barbarian warrior. She wields a big old axe, and they're fun. And so Lute ends up helping them. They discover that he can heal, and Johnny's like, I want him in the group. So long story short, you end up joining the group on a trial basis. Lute wants to try it out for a couple days to see if he likes it before leaving, and you end up helping with a few intro quests. Because this is a newly formed mercenary group, they can't do that much, so they get quests like finding cats, or delivering a lunchbox, or finding a lost sheep. And you do some of these little intro quests to get established. And that's really where I left it in terms of the main story. It was intriguing. I mean, it's not anything to write home about, but again, this is the first couple hours of the game. It's introducing you to the characters, it's introducing you to the world, to the capital, so I think that's fine. And of course, what I can really appreciate about the story so far is the protagonist doesn't have amnesia. Big bonus. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to give a real quick overview of first impressions of the game because, like I said, I appreciate the fact that this is a game that was going to be a gotcha and decided, hey, we're not going to be predatory dickheads and let's just release a game and make it a game for a game's sake, not for the sake of making a shit ton of money. And in that regard, I think the $30 price tag's worth it. It seems like it might be a nice world to get lost in. I think the only downsides would be is if you really don't like that gotcha style of character progression, weapon progression, and gearing progression, because that's all still there. But I would encourage you guys to give the game a shot, and if you have, let me know what you thought. I'm curious to hear anyone's thoughts in the comments. Do you agree? Was it worth the $30 price tag? Would you have preferred it just remain a gotcha and free to play with microtransactions? Anyway, let me know. Until next time, peace.